Bomb threats seem to be the crime du jour. It really should be the crime of the month or not the crime of the day. But you know what I mean? It is the current trendy crime to call in bomb threats. The last 3 episodes, I think we've had a bomb threat each episode. The Sanseido Party. The party leader was going to go to a university and give a speech. This is the university in Tokyo. Very big university, very big, very important. And he was then going to participate in debate. Well, it was very nice of him. It was canceled because of a bomb threat, specifically mentioning the Sanseido Party leader coming to the campus. He said, using violent threats simply because someone has different views or opinions is detrimental to public discourse, said the incredibly racist, xenophobic man. He further said, the lecture was about why I became a politician, because I hate foreigners. The current social situation in Japan, too many foreigners. Historical background, we shouldn't have let foreigners into Japan. And what students should do to engage with politics. They should join our party and try to get rid of all the foreigners. And there was almost nothing about foreigners. Now that's interesting. So he was going to talk about foreigners to a degree. Was he saying that this speech was going to be less racist than my usual speeches? Or was he saying that the level of content of racism in my speech was so minimal it should be not considered a big deal this time? He then further said, we do not engage in discriminatory behavior towards foreigners, which is something that someone who does not engage in God damn it. We do not engage in discriminatory behavior towards foreigners is something that no non-racist has ever had to say. So if you do not engage in discriminatory behavior, you don't have to go around and tell people that you don't engage. Let's put it this way. I've never walked into any room ever and said, hey, everybody, just pay attention to me for a second. I do not engage in discriminatory behavior. I've never had to go into a room and make that statement. And I've never had to go in a room and make that statement because I don't do those things. So I don't need to ever defend myself about those things. He wasn't done yet. He had one more thing, nor towards LGBT people, which again, if you've never discriminated towards a group of people, you've never had to specifically say to a group of people that we don't discriminate towards you. I've never had to say I discriminate. I've never had to say I don't discriminate against Mongolians or Peruvians or any other group of people because I don't. This puts me in a tough spot because I clearly don't agree with the politics of Sanseido. But I also am not a big fan of calling in bomb threats to shut him down because politics is about, get your opinions out there. And I actually think our racists should be more vocal because it makes us a lot easier to identify the racists. And that's the bit that people like. People hiding it and then softening languages and stuff like that. I don't want that. I want them to come out and be proud of being the racist they are so that we can point them out and go, that guy's a racist. I'm not going to vote for him. Or if someone does vote for him, you then know that they are racist. And it makes it very easy to recognize that the people who support them are the racists. It's like I started crying as soon as I started the podcast. We have a typhoon coming, and it's kicking up a lot of crap in the air. It's raining today. The typhoon's not here yet, but I'm pretty sure my allergies are going to kick off pretty hard, which is a constant problem I have doing the podcast. 2025 Consumer Trend Report said that TV ownership among single men under 30 has dropped by 40%, which is not a big surprise. The national average for television ownership is sitting around 90%. So most people in Japan in most houses have a TV. Men under 30 are dropping television, which is not a surprise to me at all. I got 2 kids. I would say those 2 kids never watch TV. If they're going to watch something, they're going to watch YouTube. They're going to watch it on their phone. They're going to watch something like that. They're never going to pick TV unless it would be a streaming service, which isn't technically broadcast television anymore. It's a streaming service, which they could get off a computer. So if you had a computer, if you had a setup like mine where you have dual monitors and stuff, that'd actually probably be better than TV. In 2005, across all demographics, TV ownership was at 95%. Computer ownership has since passed TV ownership. So like I just said, get a really sweet computer setup. You don't need a TV anymore. And it has other benefits. A 2022 NHK survey said 30% of people in their 20s didn't watch any broadcast media. So that was 4 years ago. Not surprised at all. Again, I think kids coming up are not going to watch any broadcast media. If it's not made available to them conveniently, that they can get quickly, I don't think they're going to have any interest at all. With the marriage rate being low, there will be more single people with less need for a TV. Because what they're thinking is, if you're a couple, you might want a TV so you can watch stuff together. But if you have a big ass monitor and a computer, you don't need a TV still. You could still just watch really good stuff on your computer. And if you have like the tech setup, I could probably put a monitor downstairs and connect it to my computer, or I could have a secondary computer. I would choose 2 computers over a computer and a TV any day. I would much rather have the functionality of the computers. I think young people are growing up with this level of technology, so they don't see that as strange at all. Stagnant wages have made TV look like an unnecessary expenditure, like a luxury good, and that coupled with the NHK fees have made it even worse. So here you have a channel on television that I will never watch. So you want me to pay every month for this channel that I'll never watch, considering I barely want to watch any broadcast TV anyways. That's the issue they're running into. The old school media, legacy media, is now fallen to the wayside, and they don't know how to catch up. They need to make NHK streaming, but then they're going to realize no one wants to watch NHK. The NHK license is that if your television can receive a signal, then you have to pay NHK fees, even if you don't watch NHK. But then they came out with these TVs that don't receive signals. They're just basically streaming boxes. So they don't have to, that's one way around it. Computers, I mean, it's the internet. Technically, I bet you could hook this up, but the way it is set up right now, I could not watch NHK. I don't have to pay for my monitors. There's no way I would buy a television and then start paying an extra 2,000 yen, whatever it is a month for NHK for a service I don't want, for the one I'm never going to use, even if I do pay for it. I mean, you just got to look at the landscape and where kids are going. If it's not on their phone, if it's not on a computer, they're not even going to look at it anymore. A 1,200-year-old temple holds the inextinguishable fire, which is claimed to have been kept burning, Start all over again. A 1,200-year-old temple holds the inextinguishable flame, which is claimed to have been kept burning uninterrupted for 1,200 years. It was destroyed in 2005 because of a fire, and then rebuilt. And last month, it was burned down again. Now, I saw about 18 articles on this. Half the articles made the same joke that the inextinguishable flame was unharmed by the fire. But they don't say whether the fire, the inextinguishable... I'm having trouble saying inextinguishable. They're not saying whether the inextinguishable flame had some connection to the actual temple burning down or not. So that's the bit I want to know. Was the inextinguishable flame, did it get out? Did something happen? I mean, I would like to know that. Did someone come and try to burn down the building that's holding the inextinguishable flame? That has actually been completely unreleased. It is the far more interesting part of the story. Aside from the joke that the flame was not hurt by the fire, which I instantly had that thought as well. So I'm not actually like dishing on the people who wrote that, but don't always go for the first joke you think of. What actually started the flame? This is where some investigative journalism has to come in. And again, I got a full-time job, so I can't be the investigative journalist I would actually like to be. It was put out in about 2 hours by firefighters. They had to have a helicopter come in and drop water on it. So yeah, the actual joke would be the inextinguishable flame could not be extinguished, but then the fire was extinguished by the firefighters, if that started the fire. Or the inextinguishable flame suddenly decided to take its own name seriously. I do have a question, though. If we're not going with like Alanis Morissette rules, is a temple containing an inextinguishable flame burning down ironic or not? That is, I feel like it is. I feel like a temple that is designed to hold a flame burning down is in some way ironic. But I would need a greater authority on irony to actually tell me. I guess it's supposed to hold the flame and then it burned down the structure that was holding it. So that is an irony. Or is that just like Murphy's Law? This is a tough one. I don't know the answer. I'm going to need some people's feedback. Do you think a temple holding an inextinguishable flame burning down is ironic or not? What do you think it is? You can send an email to chunkmcbeefchest@gmail.com, or you can send a voice message at speakpipe.com/chunkmcbeefchest. 18s, all age 16 to 17. So you know they're having good ideas. They're having thoughts. They're really thinking things through. I do remember back when I was 16, 17. It is when I did easily the most reckless things in my life. Things that I absolutely 100% should have got arrested for. And I'm very, very lucky I didn't. I'm not going to say what I did. The statute of limitations is off, so I don't really have to worry about it. But at the same time, I don't want to besmirch myself by digging up old skeletons. They called 110, which is like 911 in America, on themselves. So they were a little group, and they have their little scooters and motorcycles, and they were like, hey, we're bored. What do you want to do? And they're like, you know what? I would like to drive recklessly down the road. And they're like, well, that's fun and all. We do that all the time. Let's make it more fun. Let's have the police chase us. So we're going to call the police on ourselves. We'll drive recklessly down the road. They'll chase us. It'll be exciting. That is, to me, very, very 16-year-old thinking. These stories often have like a random 20-year-old involved, but this is just 16 and 17-year-old kids. Their actual quote was, we wanted to enjoy being chased by patrol cars and called the police to lure them out. They drove into oncoming traffic. They were swerving in and out of the lanes. They were blowing through red lights. Just general driving dangerously. There is a kid in my town who has a scooter, and he's modified the muffler or maybe even taken it off because it's really loud. And he drives around the park near my house in a circle. So I can actually hear as he drives around. I was walking Dave one day in the park, and he drove through the park, and I was like, if this kid hits Dave, I am going to clothesline him so hard. He stayed away from me, which is good. They actually lost the cops. So in a way, this was almost successful, but the cops used surveillance footage, which is now the end of every Ninja News Japan story. The cops used surveillance footage to find out where the teens went to their houses. They caught 2. They have warrants out for the other ones, and they know who they are. So they're probably, by the time I've actually read this story to you on Ninja News Japan, they have already been caught. The Sumiyoshi Kai, which is a Yakuza organization. It's like a subset of a bigger one. I don't actually know the different groups of the Yakuza because they're becoming less relevant in the modern age, which is good and bad. I don't know. I have always been a little confused by the rules governing organized crime in Japan. They opened an office. Now, Yakuza organized crime is already illegal. So them opening an office, and this is just a place where they meet because it was in an apartment building. It was like the guys would go there and have their meetings and stuff. So it's technically an office, even though they're just renting an apartment building. But there's a rule in Japan that gang offices are not allowed to open within 200 meters of schools, libraries, and nursery schools. Now, the thing is, these are organized criminals. They're criminals. They're not worried about the law. So the fact that you've made this other law seems irrelevant at first, but I'm like, oh, this is just one more additional charge. So they could charge them for opening this office and then search the office and then find other things that maybe they've been involved in and commit more crimes. So it's really like opening the door to an investigation more than anything else. But it does always seem like, since organized crime is illegal, why would you bother making a rule about where organized crime groups can open offices? But then you sort of see it like, it's like jaywalking. Jaywalking was never designed to actually arrest people for crossing the road illegally. It was so cops would have a reason to search black people. That was actually where it came from in America. Thanks, America. And jaywalking became pretty universal. Like most places have jaywalking. Most places don't enforce it very much. But the actual idea of jaywalking is not to arrest people. It's to give an opportunity for a police officer to search someone who's actually committed a petty crime and then hopefully find a bigger crime and I guess fill a quota of some sort. They opened an office in an apartment building 100 meters from a school, a nursery school. 3 admitted to the allegations and 3 denied it. So they arrested 6 people. 3 people were like, yeah, we opened our office. It is what it is. I'm sorry. And the 3 guys were like, nope. Not saying anything, and I can tell you which 3 of those members I would want in my organized crime gang, and it's not the 3 who whistled right away. Kenjiro Tsuda has filed a lawsuit. Now, this is the guy who does the voice of Kento Nanami in Jujutsu Kaisen. He does a couple voices, but he's very famous for that voice in particular, and that is a very popular anime. He has put a lawsuit in with the Tokyo District Court suing TikTok for using an AI to clone his voice so that the app can use his voice to narrate videos. So you know they have the generic voices that narrate videos that people make. And they say mindless, pointless things most of the time. I haven't used one yet, but I'm sure I will actually get there someday, probably like 20 years after it's actually cool and popular. But he's claiming that TikTok cloned his voice and now has made it available to everyone to use on their videos, which is damaging his publicity, I think it is. This is a very weird crime because you cannot copyright your voice. right now in Japan, at least not yet. But if the voice leads people to believe that it's actually the original speaker, it could be a violation under the Unfair Competition Act. So because my job is voice acting, if someone makes an AI clone of my voice and starts using it, and that damages my business, now we have a case. Whereas we say, like, he cloned my voice, I want to copyright my voice. We can't do that right now. TikTok is claiming that they are just using a universal male voice, which is incredibly unlikely because, again, AI can't just do generic anything. It has to take from something. Maybe they modify it, maybe they pitch it up, maybe they pitch it down, speed it up, slow it down, that kind of stuff. But it is taken from someone. I actually was playing with AI when it was new and I didn't feel as opposed to it as I do now. AI in art is just completely unacceptable to me at this point. But I had one take one of my videos, one of my Ninja News Japan videos, and I thought, oh, it'd be really cool if they did an auto translation into Japanese. It auto translated and then cloned my voice. Now, I didn't know it was going to do that. Cloned my voice and actually kind of manipulated my mouth so it looked like I was speaking not perfect Japanese, but AI Japanese. I played for some friends to see if they actually thought it was good. They didn't actually think it was very good. So maybe the technology's not there yet. But the tone of the voice did sound exactly like my voice, which was very scary, which made me think, should I bother to copyright my voice? Probably not. Again, I'm not that popular. But if it did somehow damage me, yeah, that would be really unfair to me as someone who does a podcast. There's a video element to this podcast, but hardly anyone watches it. It is 99% people listening just to my voice on the internet. They download the podcast and they listen to it. If they got a Japanese version or another version of that using my voice and they would think it was me, well, then they could start saying Senseido stuff. They could start saying the racist stuff. And then I would have to come out and actually make a legitimate claim that I do not make discriminatory statements against certain groups because they've actually heard my voice make discriminatory statements. So that would be the first situation where I would have to say that, even though I'm maybe not that person. So I just thought of that now. That's a little disturbing, actually. They're demanding that TikTok remove the content. So they're not actually trying to get money from TikTok. They're just saying, like, you got to take these down. You got to stop using this voice. There are currently 180 videos that they know of using the cloned voice for narration over the last 2 years. So we had a guy, it was months ago, maybe last year, who left work on a regular basis to go to the gym. And I thought, man, that dude must be ripped. He was apparently going to the gym like almost every day. But he wasn't going to the gym and working out. He was going to the gym and soaking in the bath and sitting in the sauna. So he was essentially just going to the gym and relaxing, which is, I mean, a great way to spend your time if you can get away with it. Of course, he didn't get away with it. He got caught, he got in trouble, and he got fired. A 26-year-old city worker was fired for going to the gym 185 times over the last 3 years. So that is a minimum of once a week. So if you could have kind of played it in like, I go to the gym and help other people stay healthy and maintain the welfare of the country, that actually could have kind of worked out maybe. But he went to gyms when coming back from off-site assignments. So he went to some other place, and then on his way back, he would stop off at a gym, do a workout, and then come back to the office. He missed 296 hours of work, which he's going to have to pay back. And he was commuting on taxpayer money, so he's probably going to have to pay that back as well. And he was going to the gym up to 10 times a month. So that is twice a week. So I was saying once a week just to make it like 52 weeks a year, doing really quick, dirty math in my head. But twice a week, pretty regularly, maybe even more. A colleague saw him mid-workout at the gym, which makes you immediately question, what was the colleague doing there? Now, very likely it was the colleague's day off and they went to the gym because it's their day off and it's perfectly acceptable to go to the gym on your own time, but went to the gym and then saw a coworker at the gym who they knew, like, hey, that guy's supposed to be working right now. It's my day off, not his day off. And if you know the other person's schedule, then went back and ratted him out. Again, proving that if you're going to abuse systems, you have to make sure the people around you are satisfied enough that they don't care about turning you in if you want to be successful. Nara cops. There was one in his 20s, one in his 30s, and they were basically working at a holding facility between July and October last year. And they started bullying an inmate, primarily because he wouldn't follow instructions correctly. So I don't know what kind of instructions, probably just like a line up, walk over here, take off your shoes, stand here, face the wall, sit down and eat, that kind of stuff. They said he wasn't following instructions correctly. So they started to kind of bully him, but then they found his reactions to be funny. I'm assuming they were kind of over the top, or he panicked or something like that. And it was very bully oriented behavior. So when he started overreacting, they found it funny. So they kept doing it and escalating. They grabbed the detainee's face while he was sleeping. So he'd be sleeping in his bunk. They would go into his room and they would just grab his face, which is weird. They pulled his trousers up, which makes me think they were wedging him. So they didn't grab his underwear and pull it up. They just grabbed his trousers and pulled it up. I'm assuming guys in holding facilities and stuff are basically wearing sweatpants and whatnot. But they were wedging this adult, which is a pretty awful thing to have happen to you. And then they sprayed disinfectant alcohol on his crotch. Now you think, these guys clearly got away with it for months. How did this guy get caught? Well, the detainee sent a letter to the police district. He said, I've been abused. This is really unfair. So a letter arrived at police HQ. It had been sealed, so it hadn't been checked by the people who were supposed to check it. Because whenever you get a mail goes in or out of a facility that has prisoners, they usually check it and read it. So that would be interesting if one of your bullies actually caught you sending this. But I don't know. Maybe they weren't reading it. I don't know what the actual rules were. I actually had a student once who his job was working at a prison, and one of his jobs was to read the outgoing mail. And you think, oh my God, it must be super interesting reading other people's mail. He's like, no, it was just super depressing. Because all these guys are just in jail and they're not doing anything and they're really sad and they really just wish they were not in jail. So he said that it was actually a really depressing thing. Don't wish for stuff you don't actually want to live. So they were caught. The younger guy got a 10% pay cut for 3 months and then demoted. The higher level guy, the 30-year-old guy, he was reprimanded. 2 supervisors got in trouble for not supervising their subordinates, but they were physically abusing an inmate. That seems like assault. I think that should be prison time. And that is very confusing to me. I don't actually think these guys should just be reprimanded. I don't think it's a 10% pay cut. I think they should be fired. I think they should probably look at some jail time themselves and then the table switch. It just seems like cops in Japan, they do this kind of stuff and they just get away with it. They just get a slap on the wrist and then told to stop. Often they quit or retire, but yeah, man, I don't think cops should be allowed to abuse prisoners. It's 11:30 in the morning and in Tuesday meeting, the boss gets up and leaves the meeting, goes to the kitchen break room and gets a kitchen knife and then comes back and then attacks and slashes the head of a subordinate. And you think at some point, okay, I've been furious, let's say. I've gotten angry at work. I've gotten angry at coworkers. I'm sure coworkers have gotten angry at me. You are there all day, every day with people you didn't sign up to actually be with. There's frustrations all around. I understand both sides. Yes, people can end up really disliking each other or having trouble. But I have never gotten up to get a knife. And if I did, let's say I did get so angry, I'm going to go up and grab a weapon. I think by the time I got to the weapon, because he went to a break room, if I go to the break room and then just take a breath, be like, I'm not stabbing anyone today. I'm not going to jail over this. I don't even know what the argument was about, but I'm not going to jail over this. Or if I actually get the point where I grab the knife and I go back and then I would take a moment and go be like, what am I doing right now? Because there's space in there. And that space is when you calm down and realize, look, I'm human, they're human. We have a disagreement. We're angry at each other. Emotions are high, all that stuff. We can get past this. We may never be best friends, but we can at least not stab each other. That is the level of coworker I'm looking for. The boss was arrested and he admitted immediately to the allegations. He said he's always doing sloppy work and I just snapped. And man, that is an accurate statement. There's a lingerie company that is having trouble because people are making fake ads using the company's name. Now, the internet is the internet. So yeah, people are spoofing brands and stuff all the time. I bought a fake Rolex. I knew it was a fake Rolex, but I actually bought the watch to see A, what kind of quality it was, B, how did it look, and C, how long did it last. It lasted about 6 months, and for $100, that's not worth it, because $100 will actually get you a fine Citizen Eco Drive watch that will last for years and years and years. So not worth buying fake products because they won't last as long as a cheap official product in most cases that comes with some kind of guarantee. Didn't even make it to a year though, so that was kind of garbage. It was an interesting experiment, but people are making fake ads, and then the problem is they're starting to make this company look bad. So they advertise the Bone Slim Fit bra claiming it is recommended by Japanese doctors, and that implies that it is designed for Japanese body types or Japanese women. It says if your breasts are too big, your interview rate will drop by 30%. So the implication is if your boobs are too big, you look less professional. You look less professional, you're less likely to be able to get a job. So that's an interesting sort of stance to take. And the actual lingerie company's like, we would never say that. We don't think that's true. There's no research to back that up. I mean, that's maybe the first thing. Whether it's true or not is kind of irrelevant if no one's ever checked. These guys are just saying that, but they're using our name to make these false claims. That's problematic because then it negatively reflects on us, the actual company. It reduces, having large breasts reduces the impression of professionalism, which again, probably not true. It depends on how you dress overall, your atmosphere, a whole bunch of other things. The victims are people who actually buy the fake underwear. So this woman said she bought 10,600 yen's worth for, she spent 10,600 yen and got 4 items. It was cash on delivery and it was clearly fake as soon as she opened it up. And she said, look, I washed it twice and they ripped. It was really thin material. There was no way it was actually going to fulfill any of the purposes actually claimed. I knew immediately it was fake. I'd been ripped off. The company has submitted 135,000 takedown claims. And it says it's damaging the brand overall, which I absolutely believe is true because they are making outlandish claims. They're selling inferior products and they're using their name to do it. Which brings us to our new collaboration where you get Ninja News Japan bras. No, Ninja News Japan bras, Ninja News Japan branded underwear, which is a 100% guaranteed to improve your interview rate by 62%. I learned in psychology class that if you use an irregular number, it's actually more striking and people are more likely to remember it. So remember, Ninja News Japan, if you want that interview, wear our underwear.